Defamation lawsuit between Dr. Dayton Campbell and Daryl Vaz ends in settlement. A high-profile defamation lawsuit between People's National Party General Secretary Dr. Dayton Campbell and Jamaica Labour Party Member of Parliament and Cabinet Minister Daryl Vaz has been brought to an end after both parties reached an out-of-court settlement. Avoiding what was expected to be a closely watched Supreme Court trial, the development concludes nearly 3 years of legal proceedings arising from statements made during a political meeting in 2023.
We had to give Andrew Holness, the leader of opposition, extra security because there was this argument that Daryl Vaz, James Roberts, and O'Neil Lawrence won't get man to kill him. And I live to see James Roberts and Daryl Vaz stand up in a parliament and come talk about decency. May we have a moment of silence for Diane Smith. Look here, me not afraid of nobody. The man when me afraid of no born yet and his mother dead. We have decent people in the country being governed by the very worst, the dregs of the society. The dregs of the society governing the decent people in this country. And so
The matter had returned before the Supreme Court this week after Justice Anna K. Thomas refused an application to postpone the trial. Attorneys representing Vaz had sought an adjournment, arguing that further mediation discussions were ongoing and that additional time could allow the parties to resolve the dispute without a trial. However, the court declined the request and indicated that the matter should proceed as scheduled if no arrangement was reached. Within hours, however, both sides informed the court that they had successfully negotiated settlement terms, effectively ending the legal battle before evidence was called. While the parties confirmed that the lawsuit had been settled, the specific terms of the agreement have not been publicly disclosed, as is customary in many civil defamation cases. Settlement agreements often remain confidential unless both parties agree otherwise. The lawsuit stemmed from remarks made by Dr. Campbell during a PNP political meeting in Spalding, Clarendon on July 27, 2023. In his statement of claim, Vaz argued that Campbell's comments falsely suggested that he had engaged in criminal conduct, lacked honesty and integrity, and had been implicated in a decades-old murder of political activist Diane Smith. Vaz maintained that the remarks were defamatory and had seriously damaged his personal and professional reputation. Through his attorneys, he sought general, aggravated, and exemplary damages, together with an injunction preventing Campbell from repeating the statements and an award of legal costs.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. No, I'll repeat. What and the reason why I have gotten up is because of the fact that the leader of the opposition got up to address matters that related to the Constitution. That's what got me. And I'm saying very simply that the decent, right thing to do, coming to the Parliament on the heels of that unfortunate statement, which is not theoretical or unfathomable, because it used to happen in the 70s. And that's why the Electoral Commission of Jamaica, which is named today, has done all these work over the decades to make sure that that is a thing of the past and is never brought back to the fore. I would have expected that the leader of the opposition, based on the position that he holds, constitutional position, the leader of a major political party, a member of parliament in his own right, would come in this house today and not hide behind a statement to say his joke he was making. Have the decency and the respect to get up and clarify it himself, and if he needs to apologize, apologize.
Campbell denied the allegations and filed a defense in which he contended that the statements complained of constituted fair comment on matters of public interest. His legal team maintained that the comments were made within the context of political discourse and should therefore attract the protection afforded to political expression. The case became one of the more closely followed political defamation matters in Jamaica because it raised issues surrounding freedom of political speech, the limits of public commentary, and the protection of personal reputation. Controversy extended beyond Vaz. Two other Jamaica Labour Party figures, James Robinson and former Member of Parliament O'Neil Lawrence, also filed separate defamation lawsuits against Campbell based on comments arising from the same political meeting. Those matters have followed their own legal course, although there had previously been discussions regarding whether the cases should be consolidated because they originated from the same speech. By settling the claim, both Campbell and Vaz have avoided what would likely have been a lengthy and politically sensitive trial involving testimony, cross-examination, and judicial findings on the substance of the allegations. Importantly, because the matter was resolved by agreement rather than judgment, the Supreme Court has made no determination on whether the statements complained of were defamatory or whether Campbell's defense would have succeeded. The settlement therefore concludes the litigation without establishing a legal precedent on the issues raised. The resolution also removes one of the most prominent outstanding legal disputes between senior members of Jamaica's two major political parties, allowing both men to move forward without further court proceedings on this particular claim.
I am Dr. Dayton Campbell, General Secretary of the People's National Party. On or about July 27, 2023, I made statements on the political platform, which upon later reflection, I came to realize could have been interpreted as connecting the Honorable Daryl Vaz to the murder of Diane Smith, as well as an alleged plot to assassinate the then leader of the opposition, Mr. Andrew Holness, in 2015. I intended no malice when the statements were made, but I accept that they had the potential to cause pain and embarrassment to Mr. Vaz and his family. I hereby unequivocally withdraw the statements I made on the aforementioned date because, to the best of my knowledge, the statements and/or innuendos and insinuations contained therein have no foundation in truth and are in fact categorically false. In respect of Diane Smith, I acknowledge that my comment may have been interpreted as giving life to a rumor which started in the 1980s, connecting the Honorable Daryl Vaz to the murder of Diane Smith. This connection was unfortunate because the matter was investigated by law enforcement, and in Mr. Vaz's disclosure to the court in legal proceedings, he produced copies of his passport and college transcript confirming that Minister Vaz was not in the jurisdiction at the time of the murder. Regarding the alleged plot to assassinate Andrew Holness, I acknowledge that an individual had confessed to lying on Mr. Vaz in a hoax. It is also widely known in the public domain that the individual has been convicted and sentenced for public mischief. I hereby categorically apologize to Mr. Vaz and his family for any pain and embarrassment they may have suffered by my statements, and I agree that I will not repeat the statements or the innuendos and insinuations contained therein at any time in the future.
Subscribe today, turn on notifications, and never miss the stories that matter most. Jamaica News Now, your Highlands, your news, right now.